Coming up next, Delray Beach author Tim Kellis, a former Wall Street stock analyst who made a fortune when he chucked it all to become an author on relationships. And in an interview taped earlier, I asked Tim, how come the book?
A good question. It was a long ride. I got my undergrad degree in engineering from Missouri in 1985, and I spent 9 years in the communications equipment industry and went and got my MBA from SMU in Dallas.
Wow.
And just happened to land at a firm in Dallas, and they were looking for a tech analyst, and so I landed on Wall Street.
You ended up on Wall Street?
Yeah.
Well, how long were you on Wall Street? Yeah.
Over 10 years. Over 10 years, yeah.
As an analyst on Wall Street, with all the rocking and rolling that's going on that led to Wall Street's demise, what did you do? What does an analyst do on Wall Street?
An analyst is like the research and development arm of the finance industry. All of the investment community feeds their research from Wall Street analysts. There's dozens of analysts in the different sectors that feed basically both institutional and retail investors financial information.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you're the CFO of Wall Street.
A lot of analysts do go on to become CFOs of companies.
All right. Okay, from Wall Street, you came up and you wrote a terrific relationship book.
Thank you.
Called Equality, The Quest for a Happy Marriage. Now, going from a Wall Street analyst to an author, that's a pretty big jump. Why did that happen?
That was a personal situation. Yeah. I mean, in 2000, I met and fell in love with the woman I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with.
Mrs. Perfect, right?
Well, I'll refrain from elaborating on that, but we fought, went to a therapist, and when I realized the therapist really wasn't helping that much. Now, I'm not a psychologist, so I basically took on the task. 100 books went into the research of this, 9 months of writing. And you have a product.
So that relationship went kaput, right?
yeah, it didn't work out. But well, it was one of those things that if you got to get something done, you got to do it yourself if you can't get help. And unfortunately, no one in the psychology industry has really aggressively tried to solve the problem.
Well, okay, solve the relationship problem between man and woman. You know, this has been going on since God invented man and woman. You know, I certainly cannot qualify to know anything about this because I've screwed it up many times. But what have you written in this book that is tantamount to getting a good, happy relationship?
It's the only book that I've found that addresses a relationship mentally. And taking that into consideration, and in reality, it's only been the last couple of generations that our divorce rate has skyrocketed. And so you look at the changes that have taken place, and there's basically two things that have happened. Education of women. In 1970, less than 1% of law and medical degrees went to women. In 1990, it was half. And then date. So women are now getting educated, and men are exposing themselves to their emotional side. And so you got to figure out how to put those two together. Well, the title of the book is Equality, because you have to balance both the logical and the emotional side of the relationship.
Well, we're still getting 50% of the marriages ended up in divorce. How can we correct that, in your opinion?
Well, the analogy that I use here is in capitalism, corporations, two people come together to build a partnership, and that's the way you have to do it in a relationship. But the partnership between a man and woman is different than a corporate partnership because there's the logical and emotional side. You have to. The man who's more logical would want to understand the emotional side, and the woman who's more emotional would want to understand the logical side. So when you come to terms and solve your conflicts, which are inevitable in most relationships, you take both of those sides into consideration, basically. Well, the relationship books that have been written, you know, John Gray of Men Are From Mars says he doesn't even address why men and women are different, and then Dr. Phil basically says he's not solved a single problem in 25 years of therapy. So that's what you get from the professionals, unfortunately.
Well, Dr. Phil. Anyway, so whatever possessed you to do a lot of research? I mean, I've gone through this thing, and there's a ton of research that you went involved. Why did you do that?
On Wall Street, I'm considered an expert in both the communications industry and the semiconductor industry, and so I've basically got my arms around two other industries before, and so I basically took the same approach to this, looked at the relationship psychologically.
Did you get involved with all the philosophers and all
philosophy,
that?
Psychology, history, Freud, Martin Luther King, Hitler, capitalism. It's written from a whole new perspective than any other book, but you basically use analogies from throughout history and is analogous to the issues you have in relationships. Martin Luther King, civil disobedience was the way he approached his work. If you want to solve conflicts, be civil about it.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Listen, we're running out of time. Kellis, you did a magnificent job.
Thank you very much.
Coming out of Wall Street to write this wonderful book on relationships.
Thank you, David.
And we're going to punch up your website right now on the screen. So if anybody wants to look at your website and order the book and live happily ever after.
Wonderful.
All right.
All right.
God bless you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
All right. And stay with us. We'll return right after these words.